So I haven't really discussed this on the channel at this point in time, which is also for the first point in time. I think this is the first that I've felt like that I've done somewhat of a blog video. And the thing that I haven't really talked about yet, because honestly I was trying to decide whether or not it was going to happen, is I've been looking at purchasing recreational property, and it's been, I don't know, in my mind since, over 10 years, I would say. I really never thought it was going to happen in the career that I was in early on. Now I'm in a position that I think I can get it done. So what I'm doing right now is I'm on my way to southeast Indiana, kind of on the path to Cincinnati and south. And this is actually the second property that I'm going to look at. The first one, which you learn in life and everything that you do. The first one, I really liked. It had like 4 ponds on it. It was only 20 acres, which for me is, for what I want to do with it, is plenty. And it's weird to think that it might even be a starter property as far as recreational land goes. But the challenge with that one was when I was talking to the real estate agent, or my real estate agent that's representing me, which I chose to do to use Whitetail Properties, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Bumps. He had advised me that he couldn't find anything that was selling anywhere near that price per acre within the last recent year. We'll just say recent years. I think he said like 4 years, and even that it didn't sell at $7,000 an acre, which in the grand scheme, if I was at the other end of the state, it would have probably been priced appropriately. It was just in the area that it was in. And so he's like, it's probably more like $5,000 an acre. You could maybe get it to appraise for $5,500, but anything beyond what, from what it appraises for to what we offer, because I'm not going to pay full cash up front. He's like, beyond the deposit that you would have for the mortgage or the note on the land, you would have to come up with in cash, which I could have done. It would have stretched me beyond what I wanted extra liquid cash for, or kind of a reserve cash just for my life in general. Things that would come up, things that got to be fixed, things we want to do as a family. And so we did end up putting an offer in to see if they would come down. It didn't happen. They were pretty firm, pretty much at where they were at on listing that property, so we walked away from it. So fast forward 2 weeks, I've been looking at this property, probably been about the same time. It was just at a price point where I didn't think I wanted to go. Now, since then, I've looked back, and it probably doesn't put me in any different cash position than the other property did. However, this one's 35 acres with 2 ponds. I probably don't put as much liquid cash into it as the other one. I think it's about, I don't know, 10 grand difference of liquid cash out up front. So, but it's also 35 acres, and from what I've seen online, the property looks clean. It doesn't appear that it's ever been timbered, which the other one had been, I'm going to guess, 25 to 30 years ago. And so I'm going to guess there's timber value there. We'll have to see what trees and what caliber that they are. And then I can have a conversation with the guys at Whitetail Properties, which, going back to Whitetail Properties, I'd actually talked to some real estate agent, residential real estate agents, friends of mine, and I found out pretty quickly, or got, I want to say, the non-reassurance of they really didn't know purchasing recreational land, and watched some videos online of different groups, Whitetail Properties included, and they were talking about timber value, mineral rights, access, easements, all those things. And so my gut was I probably need to call somebody that knows what they're doing. I really didn't have any relationship. I had no relationship with the folks that I ended up calling at Whitetail Properties, but just knew that they were going to know way more than somebody that sold homes every day, and that they primarily deal in recreational property, and the vast majority of it does not have a house on it whatsoever. It's just unimproved land, and what I mean by unimproved is it probably doesn't have any type of electrical, water, or that type of service on it. It may not even have an access drive into it from whatever road that's there. So it was just a big learning curve. So I think I'm going to try and start to take you all on the journey that I'm going through. The whole blog thing's a little weird, but also starting the channel, making my first video was a little weird when you're talking to a video, I want to say self-judging yourself of what things sound like. But in the reality, it doesn't matter. I think it's the educational journey that comes along with it. So I think this one will be interesting. There's a lot of questions to be had. The property is, from what I can tell, and I bought Onyx, I haven't got on to access the GIS maps, which really shows where the property and parcel lines are at. That's actually been recorded with the auditor. So the whole property, as I can see it on Onyx, is 52 acres. So they obviously need to clip off and replat to an extent, which is a plat's essentially the new land plan of where the property lines are at. Whatever the new parcel is going to be, that would be 35 acres. And so on the listing, it says that there's not been a survey done, and the acreage is pending the survey. It's also somewhat hard to tell what the access rights are. The road that's here is, I think, named after the name of the current property owner. And so I need to find out if it's actually a county road, and make sure that it is public access. And then back into, there's a couple houses that sit mid-property here that looks like it's already been parceled off, has separate recorded owners on it. So I'm assuming all of this is fine, but also making sure where we'll call it the county road ends, that there's still direct access into and onto the property. Because the last thing I want to do is buy a landlocked property that I have no right to access. So, and the property's, I guess, been on, for these days in real estate, it's been on the market for a while, which it's funny that 82 days is a while at this point. So in the grand scheme, 82 days is not all that long. So I think what I'll do, I got about an hour and a half in the car. It's about a 2-hour drive, which for this type of acreage at this type of price, based upon where I live, is, we'll say, an hour and 40 minutes is about the minimum target that I'm going to drive to do this, and I don't mind. I think 2 hours is somewhere around the limit that I want to be at, because one of the other things we're talking about doing with this property as a revenue generator is starting off with some glamping tents, and then potentially putting a container house on it, which would be the main house that we still may Airbnb. So if we could get some revenue generation off of it, it would be a long time investment. And my goal on this thing is I'll have this thing paid off in about 3 years. So that'd be the plan. So the start of the journey, I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't know if this property is going to be it. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're giving a swing at it. And so I'm going to walk the entire property, as much of it I can this morning, hoping to be there about a little after 8. Get that knocked out and then get on to the holiday weekend here. So I think I'll do a little bit of videos. I'm walking the property, take some clips to potentially show you guys what it is, and I'm gonna say start the journey. So we'll call this part 1 of who knows how many parts. So hopefully get back with you guys soon. All right, so back on this property, it's pretty thick growth back here right now. Pictures online are obviously from the fall. A lot of deer trails, pretty well worn. Did jump some deer coming in, passed them by, but there's some more recent tracks that are in here. There's a center valley with some type of water that, whether it runs through which drive, we're gonna find out. But I'm at the top of what I'll call the drainage. It's definitely not probably a ravine. We'll see if we get down there how steep it gets. But this is probably level and grades down here, so it's a pretty good fall across here. Walk down a bit, which you can see pretty well travel path corridor that I'm on right now. Worn pretty well in. It goes a ways down. The ponds need a lot of work. The neighbor, I don't know what you call it, neighbor, pretty trashy. There's a lot of garbage that's left on what might be this property line, which we'd have to address. This went to an offer. It's pretty. I imagine the fall's really nice back in here. You could at least see something. Definitely take a lot of cleanup. Yeah, not really sure what else to say. I'm just going to keep walking through here. Probably just follow a lot of these trails through, see what happens at the bottom. And it is wet. Slightly so, but it's wet. Partially wet, mostly dry. Got up to the back of this property after I thought I was taking video. Found a blind sitting here. Obviously, whoever's been taking care of this property has been doing, or whoever's leased this property, I don't know what the reality is. There's a lot of trash back here. So I'm about to the back end of it. Just came from that way. I'll have to re-video some of that. There's one of the inlet drainages. It's really, it'd be nice in the fall. Just pretty peaceful back here. So I'm gonna walk a little bit further. I gotta check my Onyx, figure out where the back property line's at here before I walk across it. I'll get back with you. So just passed a place where somebody's been dropping minerals. It was dug, I don't know, 6 inches or so deep. Took a picture. I probably should have taken a video before I kept walking. There's definitely deer back here. Actually just got done talking to my guy with Whitetail Properties. So he's finding out some stuff on the survey and so on. So I think if everything checks out, we may end up, provide a bid game here on this thing. So far so good. I mean, this is the only open area so far that I've seen that's not just been absolutely overgrown with everything. So yeah, I'll get through if there's anything else that sticks out or seems weird to come back, but we'll keep walking. Coming back down towards the drainage. Somebody's got a double 2-stand set up here. So good sign. I don't know. Looks like it's probably been here for a bit. I don't know if anybody's still hunting it. Man, I wouldn't trust those straps. They look pretty questionable. The ones up there look quite a bit newer. Squirrels have definitely been at it. So almost back down to this drainage. On another VIP blind setup here. Turkey decoy. Doesn't look like it's been used this year.